This feels like a which Disney princess are you test, and I'm very excited about it. This is about
Okay.
BuzzFeed level of test, so
It is.
it's
It
going
is.
to be good.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm a science teacher.
I'm Cheryl, and I slept through science.
Each episode will tackle a science question you may have learned in school, but can't quite remember or fully explain.
And I'll take the risk of asking the dumb questions so that we can all understand the science we slept through.
The bell has rung. Let's get started. Welcome to lesson 61. Cheryl, we are starting a new unit today.
We sure are. I'm so excited.
Yeah, what's our topic, Cheryl?
Our topic of this unit is quackery.
So, ducks?
Yes. All
Okay.
things ducks.
All things ducks.
No, more like, some people say pseudoscience, some people say junk science. We're choosing quackery because I think they're such loaded terms and people have all sorts of connotations. And so pretty much the idea of like a quack is like a doctor who isn't really a doctor and it's just claiming things that they're not. And so we're going to look at some things that claim science that maybe aren't science.
Yeah. And yeah, you mentioned it, but the word that we use in science for that is something called pseudoscience. Do you know that prefix pseudo? Do you know what that means?
Fake?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like a pseudonym. If you heard, like a pen name for like an author or something, right? So it's the same thing. That pseudo, means fake. And so a pseudoscience is something that's like a fake science. It's masquerading like it's science, but it actually isn't. And believe it or not, there are lots of things around us all the time that actually would fall into the category of pseudoscience. But before we dive into the first one for this week, I think I need a quick little disclaimer to make sure everybody understands. Just because something isn't science doesn't mean it's not valuable, not important, or not even necessarily true. Now, sometimes something can be not science and also not be true or not be valuable, but there are plenty of things that are outside of science that are also great aspects and ways of looking at the world. The first one that comes to my mind is art. Art is not scientific, though you can embed scientific things in art, but whether or not a piece of art is beautiful is not something that you can really address scientifically. But that doesn't mean that it is unimportant or has no impact on our lives. That art is incredibly important, but it's not science. But it doesn't claim to be science. And so it's not an issue. It's only when something claims that it's scientific or based on scientific ideas where it kind of starts to slide into that pseudoscience realm.
For me, an example I think of are personality tests. Because I love personality things. I love Myers-Briggs. I love StrengthsFinder, which is like not even quite personality, but kind of. And then the Enneagram is like my favorite thing ever. And I think the Enneagram is so useful and so helpful and a wonderful tool and real, a very real thing. And also, it is not science.
Nope.
And so yet like I believe in it and I believe it's a very helpful tool. So for me, that's the Enneagram. And so that kind of segues into today's topic. We're going to talk about astrology.
Astrology. So like where the stars are and planets and like the class that I teach.
No, that's astronomy.
I get them confused a lot.
I think probably people flip those words like all the time.
Yeah, no, they do. Because they sound so similar. They sound
they're
so
both
similar.
Astrala. So.
Exactly. Because that prefix astro, do you know what that means?
Is it star?
Yeah, it's star.
Yeah.
So yes.
So yeah, I think just like I love the Enneagram, there's a lot of people who love astrology.
Absolutely.
But today we're going to talk about it being a pseudoscience.
Yep. We're going to talk about its scientific merits. So again, that doesn't mean that it is not necessarily helpful for you in your life. I don't know, because I know you, Cheryl, but I don't know everybody who's listening. But I will say that there are some scientific claims that astrology makes that we can talk about from a scientific perspective. But let's kind of move into the pre-assessment here, which is going to be a little different, I think, than what a typical pre-assessment is. For astrology, what I'd like to hear from you are a couple of things. One, what would you say astrology is? And it can be like a definition, but it could be kind of broader too. And then, well, I'll just start there and then I'll give you the other pieces. So let's start there. What would you say astrology is?
I would say that it is a claim that the position of the stars on someone's birthday and even like birth time have an influence both on someone's personality and on future things that will happen in their lives.
Okay. And based on what you know, how does astrology work?
Oh gosh. Because I'm not into it. Okay. I don't have all the details. I know that you can read a horoscope.
Okay.
And that's supposed to be about like what's currently going on in the stars, I believe, and then how that impacts each of the signs. Okay. And so, and then like advice for you based on how that impacts you.
Okay. Let's go a little bit more with that. The signs. What are the signs?
Well, so there's different ones and they don't line up with our months of the year. So there's like overlaps. I forget how many there are. It's similar to the number of Enneagram numbers there are.
Okay.
And you could probably even draw some comparisons. So it's kind of funny. But there's maybe like somewhere between 9 and 12. Okay. And you have a blank sign based on your birthday. Like I'm a Taurus. I do know that. I know nothing about the Taurus, but I know I'm a Taurus. Okay. And so then that's like your sign, and you can have like a rising, which it could be a different sign or the same. Okay. And then, or you could be a cusp, which means you're like born like just at the start or end of one of those date ranges. Yeah, that's what the signs are. Okay. And you mentioned that you're a Taurus. Do you know any other sign names? Oh yeah, Capricorn, Libra, Gemini. Yeah. Okay. And do you know them? Yeah. Do you know where astrology gets those names from? Oh, by the way, there are 12 signs. You just don't line up with the 12 months. Yes. Okay. Where they get them from? Yeah. I mean, are they the names of stars? Okay. Maybe the names of stars. All right. And how do they determine your personality or what your future, like, how do you know that you're a Taurus? Like, why would that be? Why are you a Taurus and not a Libra? Because of my birthday. Okay. And how do they determine which birthdays fall where? Do you know? I mean, there's people who like do readings, but this was determined a long time ago as far as like where they decided these dates and everything. But I think they would say that like there's consistent positions of the stars at different times of the year. Okay. And so it's just, which I mean, there are different positions of stars at different times of the year. But then that because of those positions, there is an impact on the people being born on those days. Yeah. And that's the next thing that I wanted to ask you. Yeah. The impact of the position of those stars. How does it have the impact on a person? I mean, do you want my opinion? I mean, you can give your opinion, sure. Yeah, it's a spiritual claim.
Okay,
Like,
tell me
it's
more about
claiming
that.
something spiritual because, like, there is no, like, it can't, you can't point to anything physical other than the positions in babies being born. Like, you
Mm,
can't find a link that is a physical link between those things. Even, like, the light that we see from stars is from years and years and years ago.
mm-hmm,
So we're not even seeing the current light. And I mean, the sun has a lot of impacts on our planet. So we do know that stars can have an impact on our
mm-hmm,
planet. But on a personality, from like where these lights used to be shining
mm-hmm,
every different time, like it, that you're making, it's actually a spiritual argument. You're saying that like there's a spiritual connection and that these stars somehow have power over the personalities and the futures
mm-hmm,
of babies being born and then continue for your whole life. And then that the position of the stars from a day to day should change how you act or what you do based on that personality that was determined by these stars.
okay, all right. Final question. How do you think we could test some of these claims? Any ideas?
Ooh. It's really hard to test
Mm,
because even like the descriptions of personalities, I think if you read your own and you wanted to believe in it, you could just be like, "Oh yeah, I see that," because it's like
mm,
can be kind of vague or, and so it's hard because I think that the claims that are being made could, a lot of people could identify with. Um I think though, even okay, like one would be like if you read a horoscope and it says like something's going to happen,
mm-hmm,
then you could test it by saying like, well, did that thing happen?
mm-hmm,
That would be one way.
mm-hmm,
Um, to take a group of people born during that window of time and then see like, is this true for all of these individuals? Like, are these traits listed true for everybody?
mm-hmm,
Or is the horoscope true for 100% of the group? Like what percentage of the group is this even true for?
mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I think those might be some ways to be able to test it. And then also like is, I guess one of my questions would be like, are these positions of the stars actually the same within these dates each year?
Mm.
So like this window of time that is a Taurus time, like do the stars perfectly match that every 12 months that will be the same? I mean, I guess that makes sense because we didn't just come up with a year. Like our Earth actually goes around the sun once, so there is
Mm-hmm.
like a physical position that is staying consistent,
Yep.
and that is like one time around the sun is 1 year. And so, but I'm curious, like, is that the same, or even like years and years and years, wherever this was originated from?
Mm-hmm.
Like, were those star positions the same then as they are today, or do they slowly change over time? Because then that would be a way to say, like, well, then the dates should change every year
Mm.
if this is true.
Right.
And we're saying that they start, then like is it still matching what it is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Good test ideas. To start sort of the explanation here, Cheryl, what I'd like to do is kind of fill in a few gaps on some of the things that you were trying to explain as far as how does astrology work? How do you know what the thing is based on when you're born and the signs and where do they come from and those sorts of things. In order to do that, I'm going to show you a visual.
Ooh, I love visuals.
I know you do. I know you do.
Nice. So yeah, and if our listeners listening to our podcast would like to see this visual, we are also on YouTube.
We are. This is a program called Stellarium, which I use in my astronomy classes. It's free, just stellarium.org, and I can put a link in the description. It's a free program that you can download, and it will model the night sky. And you can see it, we're kind of giving it away at this point, but we are recording this on February 13th of 2023. Though that's not the date that this is coming out.
Yeah.
But this is where the sun was in the sky during the day today. And you'll notice that I've turned on the constellations. So as we go around, you can see a lot of these constellations that obviously we can't actually see during the day.
And I got my answer as far as I'm seeing Aquarius, Capricornus. So yeah, I'm seeing some of the names. Sagittarius.
So here,
Pisces.
And I want you to watch this, because again, we can't really see this super easily, but I'm just going to advance one day at a time.
Oh, this is cool.
So
what I'm seeing here is that all of these constellations are slowly moving across the sky compared to how quickly you are advancing each day. Also, the height of the sun gets higher and higher in the sky, which makes me happy.
But also,
hey, it's me.
The sun is passing through these different constellations. Right now it's in Taurus, right? And it keeps going. And next it's going to be in Gemini, right? Yep. So these are, and then there's Cancer. So this is where those constellations and the names of those signs, this is what they're actually based on. It's called the Zodiac. You've probably heard of that before. Yeah. And the Zodiac is scientific. The Zodiac is what we call the constellations that the sun appears to move through during the year.
Okay.
Okay, because not all constellations does the sun actually appear to go through. And so there's a set of constellations that the sun does appear to go through. So there's Libra, and that's the very, very tip of, oh, wait, what's that, Cheryl?
What
do you see this big constellation right here?
Yeah, it looks like a big weird balloon.
It does. And the sun is kind of like attached to it right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of this constellation?
No, it's definitely not one of the signs from
the Zodiac. It's Ophiuchus.
But now I want to be an Ophiuchus.
Well,
can I transfer?
You can transfer. Yep, that's how that works. This is actually one of the challenges of astrology, is that the sun appears to go through a 13th constellation.
Oh, interesting.
Which is Ophiuchus. And there it goes. Now it's back in Sagittarius, and we're going to keep going through there. There's Capricorn, and we're going to be right back to where we were. But here's the thing. You referenced this already. Astrology has been around for thousands of years. And in those thousands of years, things have shifted in our galaxy. And so also, if you look at the dates, right? So you're a Taurus, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you look up real quick, what are the official dates for a Taurus?
I sure can. Are you going to find my Taurus season for me?
I'm going to find it. And what we're going to do is we're going to look here on Stellarium to find out if the dates that the sun is in Taurus match the dates that it's supposed to.
I'm going to get so many ads about astrology now. Oh my gosh. April 20th to May 20th.
Okay, so here is April 20th. And there's the sun.
It's between Aries and Pisces.
Where's Taurus?
To the left. It hasn't crossed it yet.
It hasn't gotten anywhere close to it yet.
Can we see what day it crosses it on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here we go. We are now up to May. It still has not. Oh, we're on my birthday. It's not on Taurus yet. Although it's like between two of them. So if you're like coming up with ranges.
Yeah, it's closer to Taurus than it is to Aries.
Yeah.
Right? But it was supposed to be done at the 20th, right?
Yeah, now it's May 22nd, 2024.
Which is my sister's birthday.
Just crossing.
And now it's like clearly in Taurus. And it's supposed to be done.
Gemini season.
But Gemini's way the heck down there. It's not. It's still in Taurus. And it's going to be in Taurus, still in Taurus, still in Taurus, still in Taurus. Yep. Okay, now you could maybe start to argue that it's leaving Taurus. Maybe.
Yeah, in June 15th.
We're in June. Yeah. We're like a month off.
Wow, interesting.
That's problematic. If the claim is that where the sun is in the sky when you're born compared to these constellations impacts and has an influence on your personality and also later your future. And the sun isn't actually in that position when you were born. That causes a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
And here,
can you go to my birth year? I want to see my birthday.
Absolutely. Let's see. Your birth year would have been 1987.
Yeah.
Oops, not 70. 87. There we go. 1987, and then go to your birthday. Whoops. Stop. It's going too fast. There it is.
Oh, it's like just getting into the Taurus area.
Like maybe, depending on how you want to determine that.
I would say that I'm like a Taurus Aries cusp then, if you I think that's how you say that.
Taurus, according to what we look at here, but according to the dates, are you?
No, I'd like toward the end of the Taurus.
Yeah. See how that's
interesting. And then also more right on 35 years ago.
But they haven't changed the dates.
No.
Also, the date ranges are about the same number of days for all the different constellations, aren't they? All the different signs.
Yeah, they are. They're each month long, approximately.
Well, let's look at this. So even if we keep this with Taurus, and then we go back a little bit here, now it's in Aries.
Oh, Aries is so small.
So small. And now it's in Pisces, and it's in Pisces
is
way
huge.
Longer. Still in Pisces, still in Pisces, still in Pisces. Wow. So it's not even. Even if the dates were accurate to some extent, they're still off because we've put them into the same bucket of time. And that's not where the sun actually is. So there's a number of problems based on the claims where we say, well, this is based on where the sun is when you were born. And for some people, yes, it does still match up, but not for everybody. And not to the extent that it seems like it should.
I also saw Pegasus on there, and that would be another one I would like to transfer to.
To Pegasus, the flying horse?
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. So that's where the different star names and it's called a sun sign. And you mentioned like rising and setting and in the cusp. And there are all of these other pieces. And I am by no means an astrology expert. So I'm doing some oversimplification, of course. But this is a relatively foundational idea in astrology, is that where the sun is determines you. Right. And then you could talk about where the planets are and if they're in retrograde and all those really exciting things.
Yeah.
But if at the very base, you're not the quote unquote correct sign, that seems a little problematic to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you also talked a little bit about it being hard to test, right?
Yes.
We technically just ran a test.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Right? Now, it's not a rigorous scientific test, but if there's a claim that is made, which there is, right? Hey, I'm claiming that where the star is, where the sun is in the sky when you are born affects your personality. One way to check that would be, is the sun actually where you say it is when you're born? That's what we just did. And for you, yes, it is in Taurus when you were born, right?
Yeah.
But it's not going to line up for everybody and the dates were still off for Taurus.
Yes.
Right? So, and we could check other ones and things like that. But so that's one thing. You also talked about the kind of the vagaries of horoscopes.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I'd like to do another test with you, if I could.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
And this one also is not like a rigorous, fully controlled, whatever. And I'm not going to do the full extent, but I pulled up your horoscope as a Taurus for today.
Oh my gosh. Yay.
Okay. But I also pulled up the horoscopes of other signs for today. And I'm not going to tell you which one is yours. I'm going to read several. I'm not going to read all 12, but I'm going to read several. And I want you to tell me which one is the most like you today?
I'm so excited.
Because according to astrology, it should be the one for Taurus, right?
This feels like a which Disney princess are you test, and I'm very excited about it. This is about BuzzFeed level of test,
It
so
is.
it's
It
going to
is.
be good.
Yep. And again, you might get it right. I think I'm only going to read 4 of them, right? So you have a 1 in 4 chance of getting it right for no apparent reason, which is a pretty high chance. But just for the sake of time, I'm not going to read all 12. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Before you begin something new over the next 24 hours, you must ask yourself one simple question. Is it absolutely necessary? According to the planets, you could waste a lot of time and energy pursuing goals that are of no real importance.
That's just
number
good
1.
Advice.
Yep. That's just, by the way, this is from the
really
New York
good
Post.
Advice. Yeah.
Okay. Next one. The more confusing the world around you gets, the less concerned you seem to be. Is it a case that you no longer care? Of course not. You're just smart enough to recognize that most events are simply not worth wasting time and energy on.
Oh boy, they're sucking up to the reader.
Yes,
if I read that, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. I am so smart.
I am so smart. Okay. Next one. You need to be more of a team player, especially on the work front, where to make the most of your own ambitions, you need to help others with their ambitions as well. It's the old story. The more you help others, the more you help yourself.
Did my boss write that?
Okay, one more. So many of your current fears are simply not worth devoting time and effort to, but you won't recognize that for sure until the sun moves in your favor again on the 18th. Between now and then, make a conscious decision to worry less.
These all apply, and I love them all. And I feel like tomorrow is going to be a great day because I have these little nuggets of wisdom.
Now, again, this was about today, which is almost all the way done.
Yes, so I'm thinking about my day.
Yep. And also, anyone who's listening, obviously it's not the same day, so it's a little bit harder. But I would be curious which one you think sounds the most like you as well. But all right, Cheryl.
Gosh. I think the first one feels the most like my day.
The first one. So before you begin something new over the next 24 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Because I like new things, change for the sake of change, and the new shiny exciting thing I would say is like something I chase after.
Okay.
A lot. Yep.
Which one would you say is the least like you?
The team player one, because is it team player? What was it? Team member?
You need to be more of a team player, especially on the work front.
I am extremely a team player, and on sometimes to the detriment of myself and my primary job responsibilities, which also need to get done in addition to helping out my coworkers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And of what I know of you, I believe that is very true. Okay. Well, the one that you picked was for my sun sign, Aquarius, January 20th through February 18th.
Okay.
And do you want to know which one was yours, the Taurus?
Yes.
You need to be more of a team player. The one that you said was the least like you.
That's so funny.
Okay, there you go. We just tested astrology again. You didn't know which one was which. And you picked, again, of those 4, you picked one that wasn't your sign that you felt like related the most to you. And the one of those 4 that you said related the least to you was the one that was supposed to be you.
Yeah. But you know what I think? I think that if I believed in this, I would forget those days where it didn't quite apply. And then those days where it lined up, I would be amazed.
Absolutely. Well, and like you said, they are vague, and a lot of them are just good advice too.
Yes. Yeah.
And so they can sort of apply to a lot of different people.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just like, yeah, those are great things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Now, with all of these things, is it hurtful if you read your horoscope? Like, is that going to do damage to your life? Probably not. I
I
mean,
don't think
most
so.
horoscopes are pretty benign like that. They don't really say a ton. But if you are making major life decisions based on something like this, I mean, I don't know, but that might not be great. Might not be a great way to go, because as we just demonstrated, again, I'm not saying this is a scientific test, but a pretty quick test that anybody could run doesn't seem to be a super accurate way of predicting what your life is like right now based on stars and planets and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We did a few little mini tests. We talked a little bit about what the sort of basic version of astrology is. Would you say that this went along with what you already thought, or did it go against what you thought or change anything you thought about astrology?
I think it went along with what I thought. I feel like at some point I heard that the stars didn't match anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was kind of cool though to see it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it's just like fine if that's what people want to believe, just like a lot of things. But I think I agree with what you're saying as far as like it's not a scientific claim.
Mm-hmm.
It's could be true for people for other reasons, but not for scientific reasons.
Definitely not for scientific reasons. Yes. Cheryl, do you have a sense of what's coming next? Can you tell based on where the stars are in the sky?
Yes, I'm going to try to come up with a lame excuse to not take the quiz.
How did you know? So insightful.
I know, I really am.
Alrighty, first question. According to astrology, what determines your personality?
The position that the star constellation was that lined up with the sun on the day of your birth.
Yes. It's like which constellation the sun is in on the day that
Yeah.
you were born. Yep. Okay. Next question. What is a claim that astrology makes that can be tested?
The ones we did.
For example.
So like you could test like what was the sun in that position on the days on the dates that it claims or people claim it was.
Okay.
And do people's personalities match the descriptions of those signs consistently? And or like do the horoscopes line up with what's happened in people's lives?
Yeah. What is a claim astrology makes that can't be tested?
Oh gosh. That the stars have some sort of like spiritual influence in you. I mean, like,
Yeah.
just that actually has an influence on your personality. I mean, you can test those like individual things, but like there is a base claim that those stars have an influence on people. That position
Right.
has an influence on people.
And like you said, the mechanism for how that influence happens is really more of a spiritual claim than one that can be scientifically tested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why like I think it could still be a belief. But because it's walking into science's camp, then that becomes a problem.
That
right?
does become a problem.
Yeah.
Yep. If something isn't scientific, is it automatically wrong? Why or why not?
Well, I think we just answered that one. No, it's just there are things that are not scientific. Like love, Ryan. We're recording this on February 13th, and tomorrow's Valentine's Day, and love is not scientific. No, there's all sorts of things that are not scientific, are not claiming to be scientific, that are still true and real and important. So it's not like it's science or nothing, which
Yeah.
is I think what people fear when the term pseudoscience is
Mhm.
used, is that
Mhm.
you're saying, well, now you're disrespecting the thing that I care about or believe in,
Mhm.
which is not what we're trying to do.
No. Sometimes that is what science is trying to do.
Mhm.
In all fairness, sometimes science is saying, no, that's not science and it is not true. So that does happen
Yeah.
sometimes.
Sure. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think some of the topics that we're going to talk about, that's what we're going to say.
Yeah. But it's not automatically the case just because something isn't science. That makes it untrue. And final and most important question, Cheryl. How can you be more of a team player at work?
Oh my gosh.
Because
Ryan,
according to astrology, you should be.
Ryan, you're triggering me.
Uh-huh.
Does that sound like your students?
Ugh.
Triggered.
Yeah. 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 Okay, well, on that note, that's all we've got time for this lesson. So why don't you pack up your stuff and get ready for my closing remarks. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at I Slept Through Science or on Twitter at Slept Science.
If you have dumb science questions like I do, please send them to us. You can email us at isleptthroughscience@gmail.com, or you can even send us a voice memo and we'll play it on the podcast.
Please rate and review our podcast to tell other people what you think about it, subscribe to make sure you don't miss an episode, and share about our podcast on social media.
Thank you to Beth Reed Miller for the artwork. You can check out more of Beth's artwork at Beth Is Something. Okay, great. Thanks. Bye.
The bell doesn't dismiss you. I dismiss you.